Dude, that game tonight was unbelievable. I know we're here to talk about what I got right and wrong tonight, but I just have to address what I saw tonight. Okay, obviously, I was wrong about the Jags. Like, apparently they're legit. I mean, the Jags just came in and they beat the Chiefs on a really good last-minute drive, but good grief. I mean, yes, I want to give the Jags their credit. Again, they did beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs definitely look beatable this year. I mean, there's just no other way around that one. But I got to tell you, man, like, this is one of those scenarios where I'm in this position where it's like, okay, 2 weeks straight now. And it feels like it's been more than this. It feels like it's been more often. But 2 weeks straight now, we have seen on Sunday or standalone games, we have seen some of the worst decision-making I've seen at the end of the game. So the Chiefs go down, they score that touchdown. You think, okay, the Chiefs are going to win this game, right? Then Harrison Butker does the same freaking thing that I feel like I just talked about with the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football against the Seahawks a couple weeks ago, where he kicks it out of bounds inexplicably to give them an amazing field goal position. It's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen with this new kickoff rule, the amount of dumb kicks that I'm watching. And I got to tell you this, like, I don't even want to get too deep in this. I am not one for the conspiracy, like, around the NFL. But I got to tell you, like, this is one of those moments where it's like, it feels just weird. It feels so weird why team after team in these standalone games makes dumb kick after dumb kick at the end of the game. I mean, it's crazy. The Chiefs lost that game because of the field position they gave the Jags, and then the penalty that they had on that final kickoff. So, I mean, those were two big things. The Chiefs, again, look beatable, and the Jags apparently are for real, which is all of it's very mind-blowing. But that's football for you. I mean, that's football. And that's why I discuss what I got right and wrong every single week in fantasy football, because I'm not a wizard. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see into the future, and all I can tell you is what I see. So that's why I discuss what I got right and wrong every single week. And we're going through that for week 5. So like the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support if you get value from this segment right here. And just appreciate the transparency, because nobody does it like me. Nobody can do it like me, because nobody else is willing to open themselves up to getting beat on every single week whenever they get stuff wrong. But that's what I'm here for. So the first thing that I want to start on here tonight with is this is more of a preseason ranking that, I do my preseason rankings, obviously, and every time I rank my quarterbacks, there's usually a discussion about, particularly with the top 3 guys, and I consistently always put Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson in my fantasy rankings. Now, they're in the same tier, and I keep them there for the reason of, if both players are available for the full year, either one of them could easily be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football. And I know Lamar's upside. I mean, we saw it last year. We saw it in 2019. Like, we've seen Lamar be amazing in fantasy football to the point where he's a cheat code. But I always have Josh Allen ranked above CJ Stroud. Or not CJ Stroud, good grief. Of course I have him ranked above CJ Stroud. I have him ranked above Lamar Jackson very consistently because of the injury factor. And I say this every year as well. Josh Allen feels like the only true bust-proof player in the league. And knock on wood that he doesn't get hurt, but the reason why is because he rarely does. And I think the other night was a great example. If you watched Sunday Night Football last night, Josh Allen took a beating against the Patriots. Like, he got hit very hard. He got slammed down on the turf at one point and his head hit the turf. Like, most quarterbacks, I think, would probably be, like, banged up to the point where they probably wouldn't come back in with some of the hits that Josh Allen takes. Because it's not just like, that play last night where he got brought down after he threw the ball. It's also plays where he just puts himself in a harm's way and he's running the ball. Josh Allen is just so big that he can handle all that. He can handle that pounding. And Lamar Jackson's not like that. Again, I think it's very, very easy when you just kind of look at the past couple of weeks and how things have gone for each quarterback. Josh Allen has not escaped punishment this year. Like, he puts himself into harm's way every single week when he runs the ball. And then Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, that guy just pulled his hammy because he has proven time and time again, lower body injuries are not foreign concept to Lamar Jackson. And that's the reason I always rank Josh Allen above Lamar Jackson in my quarterback rankings, because if the two of them are healthy, again, I'll keep them in the same tier as each other, because when Lamar is playing, he could easily be the quarterback one against anybody. So it's not a talent thing. It's completely an injury thing, and I always feel comfortable with Josh Allen rather than I do with Lamar Jackson. And we've been proving it again in 2025. I'm not rooting for injury against anybody. Anybody. Like, I don't want to see anyone get injured, but I'm just telling you that's a reality of this game. And number two, some players are more injury prone than others. That is the reality of this game. So I think it's been pretty obvious watching Josh Allen this year. The guy has taken a beating on several occasions. It's not that he is not getting hit. He's just bigger, and he could take more punishment. It reminds me of Big Ben when he was in his prime, Cam Newton for a little bit. Like, those guys that are just built like that, they're just different, and they could just take more punishment. And Lamar, as much as he's gotten bigger, and he cannot withstand that. He's just not built like Josh Allen. Alexis Bolanos, appreciate the super chat. I will answer your question after I go through what I got right and wrong. So here's something I got wrong, and it was pointed out to me by someone in the middle of the games on Sunday. And it's funny because I did tell a lot of people, there were a lot of questions about CJ Stroud ahead of week 5. The matchup in theory was so great, right? Like, the Ravens defenses looked atrocious, even when everyone's healthy, and they're unhealthy right now. So a lot of people had the natural question of like, hey, do I play CJ Stroud or Baker Mayfield? Or do I play CJ Stroud or Sam Darnold or CJ Stroud or Justin Fields, right? And I kept telling everyone, like, I'm not playing CJ Stroud. Like, there's no chance on God's green earth that I'm playing CJ Stroud. Because a couple reasons. Number one, the Texans' offense has just not looked good this year, and I was not convinced that it was going to all of a sudden just pick something up and look good. And number two is that I spent the last week, for sure, this was it. I'm sick of defending the Ravens' defense. Like, I have come on here time and time again and discussed, look at the Ravens and who they've played. And I've defended that defense into oblivion, and now they've driven me away. Like, I'm done defending the Ravens defense because they embarrass me again, not from just a defensive ranking perspective, which I will talk about here, but also from the perspective of CJ Stroud. I mean, CJ Stroud, I believe, is the quarterback one on the week. Like, that's freaking crazy. If you let CJ Stroud, who has not been a top 5 quarterback in fantasy since his rookie year, I think, be the quarterback one on the week against your defense sucks. So that's a huge, like, I was so bothered yesterday, not by watching CJ do good. Like, it's good to see CJ Stroud do good, but I was really bothered by the fact that, like, my defense ranking of the Ravens was so atrocious and that CJ Stroud was dominant against them. So the Ravens defense, they suck. And they're dealing with injuries, so, like, cut them a little slack, I guess. But, like, I'm done defending them. So, like, you want to rip them, rip them. I mean, CJ Stroud was excellent, and I was so wrong about that. And I told people to sit CJ Stroud, so that's a huge my bad on my part. Now let's go to defense. So, defensively, it was a rough week. I'll start out by saying that. And I don't even feel like spending much time on one of the defenses I got right this week because it, again, pretty obvious, sticking with that same game. Texans defense beating the Ravens was obviously a good call. And I pretty much had them ranked exactly where they finished as a defense this week, which was a top 5 defense. And the Texans defense is very good. And the Ravens, Cooper Rush is not as good as I thought. And the Ravens are just in shambles, realistically. So, like, again, I don't even want to spend that much time on this because, like, I've got so much wrong on defense. Starting out with the Rams. The Rams on Thursday night were atrocious defensively in fantasy. They were one of the worst plays of the week, but somehow not worse than the Seahawks defense, who I also had inside the top 12. They were worse for fantasy, and that one hurt me because I played the Seahawks in a couple different leagues. I almost lost tonight's matchup because of Isaiah Pacheco, believe it or not, because I put the Seahawks defense in as my defense. I almost lost that game. So those two defenses were atrocious calls. And listen, I do stand by. I do think the Seahawks defense is dominant. And I do think they're probably a top 2 to 3 defense in the league right now. Like, I do believe that. But I will not say that they are some, like, bulletproof, matchup-proof defense. I do discuss this a lot, which is that you should rarely feel married to a defense. Like, there are very few defenses or kickers that you should never interchange with somebody else. Like, you should always be willing, in other words, to let a defense or a kicker go on the waiver wire based on matchup. And the Seahawks were getting close to that territory where I was like, I feel like I kind of want to hold them. But this week, I mean, they played the Bucs, who are really good offensively, and they come out and they lay an egg. Like, defensively, they looked atrocious. They couldn't take the ball away after, 8 picks through the first 4 games? I mean, it was so bad. And the Rams defense, I do still think, is overall good as well. They do have problems in the passing game, but I would say that their defense overall is pretty good, particularly their front 7. But add on top of that, the Ravens defense was an atrocious call as well. And again, I'm so done with defending the Ravens defense. I am so over the Ravens screwing me on this channel because I'm a Steelers fan. Like, I don't want anything to do with the Ravens, like, being a good football team, let alone getting them wrong on a weekly basis. Like, I'm done with the Ravens defense for a long time. I mean, they're in the Cowboys defense category to me. The Cowboys defense, the Jets defense, the Ravens defense, they're all in the same tier, which is dog. It's atrocious. It's one of the biggest disgraces you'll ever see in your life if you want to know the truth. So, yeah, it's just nasty, man. The defensive week I had overall was bad. And again, I take that personally because defense is something that I focus on heavily on this channel. Here's one thing I did get right, though, to get myself out of that loop, because I could sit here and complain about my defensive call all week. I think that a lot of times it's really easy for us to get, like, just as humans, I think we can really easily get sucked into a hype train and, like, promises being made, and when there's a lot of steam behind it, it's like, oh, this is gonna work. Like, there's no way it doesn't work. And your judgment starts to get clouded a little bit when you get hyped about something, right? So this happens in fantasy football on a weekly basis. I mean, take, for example, like, one guy that broke out this week, Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill Crosky, spent basically the last month of the offseason, he was being hyped to no end. Like, he was getting drafted in, like, the 7th round all of a sudden from being undrafted, and he became, like, this phenom before he even played. And then the hype died as the season went on because he wasn't getting involved enough. Well, now, the hype is going to be back for sure. And I'll be right there close to the front of that because I like him. But this week in particular, I was, like, not bought in on the hype of Woody Marks. And Woody Marks, I saw, if you just looked at the usage, let's go back to week 4 on fsroundup.com. All these stats, by the way, completely free on FS Roundup. Let's go back to week 4 with the Houston Texans and look at the usage of these running backs right here. So the running backs that week, Woody Marks got 40 snaps compared to Nick Chubb's 30. And Woody Marks took over a lot towards the end of that game. And that was the reality, is that Nick Chubb was more in this game against the Titans than Woody Marks was. So I came on here and I said, listen, I don't think that it's going to be just as simple as, like, they come out and Woody Marks is the running back 1. But there was a hype train around Woody Marks leaning into this past week of fantasy football, and I tried to warn people off of that. And again, like, it's not that I like to be the wet blanket on things. I was on board with the Bill Crosky hype. I was really on board with that. But there are certain things that it's like, okay, well, if something's not adding up here, I'm not going to like ignore it and act like it is adding up. With Bill Krosky, for example, like that adds up. I mean, they don't have a legitimate other like talented back in that backfield, especially now, that should be getting work over him. Well, I don't think that Woody is not as good as Nick Chubb, the talent, but I will say this, Woody Marks is a late round pick for the Houston Texans. He's a day 3 draft pick, and Nick Chubb, they like him. Like they still like him, and it showed again on week 5. Like Nick Chubb was very involved. Woody Marks basically did nothing. So this is one of those situations where I look at it and I say, it's really easy to get sucked into the hype. But there are times where I think every time a hype train gets built, you need to take a step back so you don't get swamped up and lose logic when it comes to hype, because a lot of times behind hype trains, there's sometimes logic that's lost. And again, the perfect juxtaposition for Woody is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, because with him, the hype was real and it was based off legitimacy and logic. Like, there was realistically, outside of Eckler at the time, nobody else. And Eckler isn't that good anymore before the injury. Now he's definitely the best guy in the backfield. That makes sense. Nick Chubb, while not that great, is still someone the Texans plan to use. So I think that it's a good lesson for other people because, again, I'm not trying to, like, when I come on here and say I got something right, I'm not trying to rub it in y'all's faces. That's why I say I'm wrong, too, because this isn't just like a Ryan's right segment. It's right and wrong. But I will tell you this, like, people do need to take this one very seriously moving forward and say, you know what? Instead of just hopping aboard the hype train and being the conductor that's pulling the horn, maybe I should sit back like a smart passenger and say to myself, let me look into this a little bit more. Is this legitimate or is a lot of this manufactured? So I think that Woody Marks is a really good test study for that, because Woody Marks clearly, it was not good. And the last thing that I want to end on right here. Listen, I don't. There are certain players I think that, I just get off of them for so long, and I have like a natural distrust for certain players that I think it starts to sound like I dislike them. And I will start this off, the last portion, in saying that I don't dislike this player I'm about to talk about. It's purely based on, like, this player is a 30-plus-year-old receiver, and he's coming off a major knee injury, and he's on his 3rd team in 3 years. So, like, I didn't see the greatest outlook for Stefon Diggs this year. And I had him low ranked like all throughout the offseason. I didn't really like him at the start of the season. He was proving me right at the beginning. But I will say this, like, I think I'm ready to admit I'm wrong about Stefon Diggs because, the thing with Diggs is that he's a player that is very target heavy when he is on. Like, if he is healthy and everything is looking good with health, he's going to be the number 1 receiver for the Patriots moving forward. Like, I've been big on Kayshon Boutte, probably well over consensus on him. I'm at that point where I'm ready to say, like, Stefon Diggs is the receiver you want out of the New England Patriots. Like, he is the receiver that consistently will get the work because he's a target magnet. He's a good route runner, short and down the field and over the middle. Like, Diggs has done this for years. So, like, it makes sense to watch Diggs do it again. But I was wrong on him because it's not a dislike thing. And I think that I can come off like that because I have a very strong personality and I am not shy whatsoever about voicing my opinions. When I rank a player like Tyreek Hill, for example, really low below consensus, it's not because I don't like the guy. Like, I'm not even bringing personal stuff into the equation with anybody. It's all about, with Diggs, he's 30-plus years old. He was coming off an injury. I didn't like him as a player in fantasy this year, but I was wrong because this guy will be that wide receiver 1 moving forward if he does not regress in health. Like, that's just the reality. Like, he looks good right now, he's running routes like he used to. Now, last night was definitely a revenge game narrative that was in there, but, this guy realistically, if he's healthy and Drake May continues to play the way he's playing, Stefon Diggs is going to creep back into like top 15 territory. So I was definitely wrong on that one. So that was what I got right and wrong. Like the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support. And again, all these stats we went through, completely free on FS Roundup. Polls open back up at like 12 a.m. Central. And tomorrow's my birthday as well. So to give me a great birthday present, go join FS Roundup today. Sign up for an account and join the community, man, because it's a fast-growing one. So let's answer the couple of super chats that I got tonight. Starting out with Alexis Bolanos. Appreciate the patience and the super chat. Need running back help with Bucky out. And K9 not getting touchdowns. I got Hurts and Dak. Would you offer one of them to a guy that's struggling with quarterback? He has Kyron, Etienne, and Swift. Yeah, that's the perfect thing to do. I mean, I talk about this all the time. When I give team breakdowns, and the way to get a team breakdown, if you don't know, is you can join the FS Roundup premium subscription, become a premium member, and I will give you a full team breakdown if you ask for it. So, the reality with it is that I do a lot of these team breakdowns, and when I do these team breakdowns, I often find myself with teams that I'm breaking down who have two quarterbacks. And always my answer is, listen, I don't endorse having two quarterbacks or three if you are not in a super flex league or if you're not in a deep league. So already I don't like the idea of holding two quarterbacks, especially with one of your quarterbacks is Jalen Hurts. And I know Hurts hasn't been excellent. Dak has played better than him in a couple different weeks. So realistically, you could trade Hurts. You could trade Hurts and try to get an upgrade at running back. If it was Hurts, I would try to ask for Kyron or Etienne. But, they might prefer Dak, and I would do the same thing. But the bottom line is, yes, I fully endorse the move of trying to get a running back upgrade when you have two quarterbacks. I already don't want two quarterbacks on my roster, and you have room to improve at running back clearly with Kenneth Walker. So, absolutely, that's a move I would make today very, very quickly because Dak's value is extremely high right now, so there is a sell high opportunity here for you, and you need a running back upgrade. So I would do that in a heartbeat for sure. Appreciate the super chat. And then Dizzy B will end on you because this isn't usually a Q&A, but I do answer super chats. Appreciate the super chat. I have Benson and Woody. Another guy has Chubb and Carter. Should I offer Woody for Carter straight up, or am I giving too much? So this is one of those scenarios where it's okay, what often happens with players who go through this hype that we just talked about with Woody Marks, ironically, is that a lot of the time, players who go through that hype and then they don't pull through on it, this is when I talk about post-hype sleepers, right? So a great example last year at the tight end position was Dalton Kincaid. He was very hyped last year, and he didn't come through on it. So this year, he became a post-hype sleeper because his draft price fell. Now, Kincaid's done really well because he's a post-hype sleeper. Now, I would say that Woody Marks moving forward is probably in that category as well of post-hype sleepers because he realistically has more of a chance to overtake the backfield for a long run than Michael Carter does with Trey Benson. Now, of course, you have this window with Trey Benson right now that's Trey Benson in theory, from what I've read, is probably out until week 10 at the very earliest. So in theory, you're going to get another couple of startable games out of Michael Carter, and he will be the lead back, by the way. Amari DiMercato was another one you could throw in the got wrong category for me as well. It probably does make sense for your team to do this and his team because you both will have your handcuffs. And for you, you're going to get a player that is going to help you today. And Woody, I don't know. I don't know when Woody helps you, but I think he will. The way I'll answer it is like this. If you're 4-1, 5-0, 3-2, and your team looks really good, and you don't necessarily need to get immediate production, I'd probably hold because I think Woody has the better long-term ceiling than Michael Carter has. Now, if you are in a position where you're 1-4, 0-5, 2-3, and you need to get running back or flex production at this time immediately, then it probably makes sense for you to do this. So it's completely dependent on how your team looks right now. It's completely dependent on how your record looks right now and how quickly you need reinforcements. Because, like, if you don't need reinforcements right away, then I think it is too much. But if you do, then I think it's worth it because you'll get immediate help and someone you can plug into your lineup as soon as possible. So it really does depend on what your lineup looks like on a weekly basis and what your record is as well. Appreciate the super chat. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. So again, like the video, subscribe to the channel on your way out. And again, join FS Roundup, if nothing else for my birthday. But realistically, like, birthday aside, we have great features on the site. Like, we have my full rankings on a weekly basis, top 200 plus. We've got the polling system. We've got every stat for every game. Those are free. Rankings are behind the premium subscription. You could do automated waivers as well. Get a team breakdown for me. I am behind on those, but we've also got hockey in the fold as well now. Hockey season starts tomorrow. So if you also play fantasy hockey, we've got stuff for you on the site as well, including the waiver tools. So great time to sign up for FS Roundup. Great time to be alive. And love you guys. I will see you guys in tomorrow's videos. Peace out.